Hi guys, my name is Anthony and this is East Africa Travel Tips. Now in this video, I'd like to share what it takes to come to Kenya as a missionary and the things you need to carry with you when you're coming to Kenya as a missionary. Now, I've interacted with missionaries in Kenya in the past. I used to live in Kijabe, that's a mission town owned by AIC, where a lot of foreigners used to come. And I've also interacted with a few friends of mine who came to Kenya from the US as missionaries. So I have a few things and tidbits that I can share that will help to make your mission trip a bit better than what it would be without this video. So let's get started. Now, I'd want to first talk about my friends who came here as missionaries. That was around the year 2008, and they were the Richardsons. Now, if you're watching this, Katie, Dave, hi. So they came as missionaries to Kenya, and their first few months were a bit rough. I wish they had someone who would be able to advise them. So when I came to contact with them, it was about a year after they had settled in. And within that time, they had gone through a few struggles here and there, been taken advantage of by some pastors, and were a bit wary of any help. But I was able to, be a good friend and help where I could in helping them to adjust and be able to serve their community better. And the beauty is I learned a lot from them, more than I gave, I guess. And the reason I'm making this video is because of the experiences that they went through and a few things that I think if you are in their shoes and with the experience I have, I would want to guide you to not make the same mistakes they did. In this video specifically, I'd like to speak about the things that you really need to pack when you're coming to Kenya as a missionary, things that are essential. Now, I'm going to make this detail and this list for someone who is coming to Kenya as a missionary for just a few days, about 2 weeks to 3, then going back. And so it will not include some things that you'll need to do, like finding a house and stuff like that, if you're coming to be a missionary for a much longer period of time. Now, this is would be essentially what many missionaries would be doing, and I may probably make a video for if you want to become a long-term missionary and what you need to do to set up. But this video specifically is aimed at the people who are going to be coming for short-term missions here in Kenya. So I'll begin with list number 1. The first item on the list and the most crucial item that you need to have on your list is a passport. Obviously, you can't get out of your country without it, and you need to keep that passport safe. It is your only identity as a traveler here in Kenya, and you will need to have that passport in good order and ready to access whenever you need it. And so here are a few things that you need to do with your passport. Number 1, you will not need to carry your passport everywhere you go once you arrive. Probably when you're traveling, you will need to have it on you at all times. But once you land and you are ready to start doing your mission work, you will not need to carry it everywhere you go. So my advice would be make a copy. Before leaving home, make at least 2 copies of your passport. The picture side of the passport. Now, the reason why this is in case your passport gets stolen or lost, you want to have a copy that will make things easy for when you're going to report it as stolen and trying to get a new one. Hopefully nothing like that is going to happen, but it's important to plan for the worst. So have a copy. So have 1 copy in your carry-on luggage, and then have the other copy in the check-in luggage. The luggage is going to be checked in. Now, this is going to ensure that in case one of those gets lost, you're still going to be safe with your copies. Now, once you make that copy, ensure that you have your passport with you. Keep it safe. If you're in a large mission team, do not give your passports to one person. The reason is if something happens to that one person or they lose the bag where they're carrying all their passports, all of you are going to be stranded. So everybody should carry their own passports when coming in to prevent any, to at least spread the risk across. Now, we are hoping that nothing bad is going to happen, but when you're traveling internationally, it's important to plan ahead of time for any eventualities. And the passport is the most critical. You can lose everything else and be okay, but if you lose your passport, it's going to be really hectic. And that's why it's the most crucial and essential item you need to have on your list as number one. So have your passport, obviously. Make sure that it's not about to expire or going to be expiring when you are still going to be in Kenya. And make sure that you're carrying it safe. Now, there are a number of options that allow you to carry passports safely. They are probably like bags and so on. My advice would be have a fanny pack and let that fanny pack have your most crucial documents, and the passport being one of them. Keeping them in the fanny pack, ensure that they are not on the sides of your pockets that can easily be pickpocketed, but at the same time that it's right in front of you, so you'll be more keen on what's going on in front of you. Now, when you're using the fanny pack, don't like place it on the side or on the back. Just have it in front of you for the entire of your journey, just to be safe. Second thing that is a must carry when you're coming for a mission trip to Kenya is having spending money. Now, depending on how long you're going to stay, it's going to vary, but you need to have cash on you. Just for any eventualities, you need to buy food, you need to pay the cab, and they do not accept anything in credit card and so on. By the way, just to mention this, Kenyans don't generally accept credit cards very easily, especially for things like taxis. Unless you're using an Uber, which is available in Kenya, you won't be able to use your credit card very easily. So have cash on you. So if you're an American, carry dollar bills that are not any later than 2006. Now, the reason for this is Kenyans, the 2006 dollars coming forward have security marks that are easily identified by Kenyan banks, and anything before that may not easily be taken by like money exchange places, forex bureaus. And so make sure that your bills are newer and that you have a bit of it. My advice would be carry somewhere in between $200, $300 in cash. That may seem like a lot, but especially when you're traveling before you get settled in where you're going, you may probably spend quite a bit of money along the way. And so having that as a buffer is good to make sure you don't need to visit an ATM. Now, the other thing that is close to that in terms of money that you need to carry is tipping money. Now, if you're going to be visiting any hotels or you're going to be having an Uber that you want to tip or something like that, you need to carry extra tipping money. So as you're preparing your money, make sure that you have factored that into, put that into consideration, that you're going to be tipping people, and that those tips are going to be in cash. So carry an allowance that will allow for that. Now, in hotels, generally anything like a 10%, 5% is okay, is generally acceptable. And so you considering what your meals are going to look like, that's how much you expect to spend. Now, the third thing when it comes to money is have your ATM card, credit card available and somewhere near you so that you are able to withdraw money if you need to. Now, Kenyan banks, most Kenyan banks, almost all of them will accept Visa. Actually, I would say all of them, almost guaranteed, will accept Visa. And there are a lot of ATMs around most town centers and cities in Kenya. And so you can carry your ATM card as long as it's Visa. American Express, not very much. MasterCard, quite a good number of them accept, but what's accepted most is Visa. So carry that as well. And that's everything to do with money when you're coming to Kenya on your mission trip. Now, about the money and the ATM cards that you're going to be carrying, now, better to be safe than sorry. You need to, just as you did for the passport, you need to make copies of every ATM card, every credit card you're going to carry. The reason for this is if you're going to report it as stolen, you'll need to give a copy of what that credit card looked like to the police. They may probably request for that. So carry that with you just in case. Don't carry it together with your ATMs. Carry it in your check-in luggage just in case you have to use it. But pray that you don't have to use it though, so that, well, it will make life easier for you if you don't have to use it. Now, the next really essential thing you need to carry with you when you're coming for a mission trip to Kenya is your Bible. Now, if you're coming for a mission trip where you're going to be witnessing or anything like that, you will need to have a Bible with you, a physical Bible. Now, I know you may think that you may want to use the Bible on your phone and stuff like that, but just to tell you, when Kenyans, yes, will use their phones, and the Bibles on their phones, but would expect anybody who is a missionary, someone who is coming to spread the good news, and sorry that I'm using air quotes, but that you have that title of a missionary, they would expect that you'd have a Bible with you. So your message will be more easily taken if you have a physical Bible. Now, this size of Bible is probably too big for you to carry, so don't carry something this huge. You may, if you want. It will, well, generally, the bigger the better, in the sense of seeming like you know more what you're talking about if you have a bigger Bible. But this may be too bulky to carry. So carry something that is not very large, but not too small. I don't know whether you guys have the small Gideon's Bibles where you are from, but those ones may not be the most effective for helping you. And then the very big one may be too bulky to carry. So carry anything in between those two to make sure that you will easily be able to communicate your message, and also for using in church and stuff like that. So carry your Bible. Now, it's important also probably to carry a notebook and a pen. Just note things down. This will also come in very handy when you are at the airports. You will need to write a lot of things when checking in, with things like custom or filling in your visa information and so on. And so carry up, especially this is important, carry a pen and paper with you, or pen and notebook with you in your carry-on luggage, to make sure that when you're checking in, when you fly into the country, you will be able to write your own things instead of having to go and buy a pen or borrow a pen from someone. Now, the next thing you need to carry when you're coming for a mission trip to Kenya is chargers. Now, chargers, tricky bit here. If you're coming from a place like the US, you'll need to prepare a lot for this, because we use different power. Now, let me show you what I mean. Now, in Kenya, we generally use power that looks like this. So anything that looks like this, let me just bring it real in close. Now that's what our power looks like, and I'm sure that's not what you're using in the US. That's because we use a different power system here. That's the 220 volts, 220, and you use the 110. I believe the US uses the 110. So when you're coming to Kenya and you're planning to carry your devices, which I really advise, I'll talk about it later on, you will find it difficult to charge your devices if you did not come prepared for this. Now, what do you need to do for this? Get an adapter. Now you can buy one on Amazon. There are links in the post, the description below, and in the entire blog post for this video, describing what type of adapter is good, that would work well. Now, something that I find very useful, there's a YouTuber that I saw doing this, that he puts his adapter. Now, just a minute, let me show you what I mean. So I went to look for an old extension cable I had, an old extension cord. Now you'd get a cord like this. Now obviously yours would have like different holes, the plugs that you normally use in the US. Now you'd put all your chargers in here and pack them in your luggage as is. Now the reason why this traveler does this is, I think he's Harris from Vox, or something like that. Now the reason he does this is because when he carries his chargers, all of them like this, all he needs to do is connect this to the wall, and all of his devices get charged all at once. And the beauty of it is that he won't forget his chargers anywhere where he's going to go, because all of them are here. Now once you do this, make sure you don't remove any of these chargers from here until you go back home, just to make sure you don't lose any of your chargers. And I think this is a fast way. So you'd connect this. This would generally be your adapter. Let's assume this is your adapter. You'd connect this to the power. It adapts directly and allows you to use this. So when getting an adapter, get an adapter that is multi-use, that is both an adapter and an extension cable, to allow you, number one, not to lose your chargers, while at the same time that you're going to be able to convert your power and also be able to plug in to the wall plugs that we use here in Kenya. The other thing you need to carry, which is a really big essential, is your flashlight. A flashlight that either has extra batteries or that you charge using electricity. Now, the reason for this is that you will likely be walking at night at times. Not very advised, but you need to carry a flashlight with you. Now, you may want to use your phone's flashlight. The reason why I don't advise for this is that you might trip and fall and break it and stuff like that. So just carry a flashlight. I'm sure it's not very expensive, and it's going to be really useful just in case there is any power outage. Now, something about Kenya is that electricity sometimes, it's better these days than a long time ago, but electricity goes out at times. And when this happens, you want to be sure that you have some backup. And one way of just making sure that you can see where you're going is having an extra flashlight. Now, the other thing you need to carry with you, as I mentioned, pen and notebook for when you're going to be checking in. When arriving, you'll need to write a lot of things, and you'll need to have a pen just to make sure that you're able to check out of the airport as quickly as possible without having to borrow writing material when you're in there. Now, when you arrive in the airport, you may probably not be allowed to go to buy stuff or go to, unless it's a duty-free shop in JKIA, that's Jomo Kenyatta International, that has pens available, and probably they're going to be expensive. So just carry a pen and paper or a notebook to just make sure that you're able to write down your checking in information when arriving. Okay, so let's now move to personal items that you need to carry when you're coming with you, that you need to bring with you when coming to Kenya. So the first thing that you need to think about, number one, is your baggage limits. So everything you need to carry is going to have to be not very heavy, not very bulky, but at the same time, things that you can be able to make multiple purposes, multiple uses of. So first, let's talk about toiletries. Now, expect to carry everything that you will need during your trip. So for instance, if you use a certain type of lotion, for instance, or you use certain type of shampoo, carry with that and enough to last you for the whole of your trip. Now, the reason for this is that there are a lot of American brands that don't exist in Kenya, or their equivalents are not exactly the same as what you're used to. So it's, for instance, if you have sensitive skin, you probably use a specific type of lotion, then you may find some trouble finding that same brand here in Kenya. So carry everything you need to carry, especially toiletries, everything that you will use for the entirety of your trip, carry it with you. Now, there are times when you may need to purchase those things from supermarkets, and those are available. Sometimes it may be a bit cumbersome if you're not going to be in the Nairobi area, or in big cities. So Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Eldoret. If you're not in those areas, it's possible that you're going to have trouble getting the things that you want to buy and essentials. So you will be able to buy them, but it's going to be a bit more trouble than what ordinarily you'd find if you're in the US. So don't worry, you can be able to buy, but I advise you not to. Then the next thing you need to think about is medication. Now, if you have a prescription, carry your full prescription from end to end. Everything that you will require, get the full prescription from the day you arrive to the last day to ensure that you do not have to go to a doctor to get that medication. It's possible that that medication may not be available in Kenya, and so you need to be safe. Now, just to be safe, carry a written prescription for any prescription medicine you have, so that you don't need to go to a doctor to get a prescription here in Kenya for something that you need a refill on. So get a prescription, get it written down, and carry it with you as well when coming along. Now, the next thing you need to think about in the personal items category is sunscreen and lip balm for the ladies. Well, for the guys as well, if you're the type who uses that. Now, Kenya has really hot sun. Now, if you do not believe me, let me take you outside and let me show you what the evening looks like. Now, Kenya has really hot sun, and the evening is still hot, as you can see. And so this is about 6 p.m. and it's still hot. And the sun, especially in midday, is very, very hot. And so you need to make sure that when you're coming here, you're ready for the sun, and the sun gets really hot here. Nothing like what you used to. If you've not been to Africa, ask anyone who has, and they'll tell you. So carry sunscreen. Do not ignore this. Please do not ignore this. Carry sunscreen, good certified sunscreen that will be able to protect you from the sun. The other sun protection items that you need to carry with you when coming for your mission trip to Kenya are your sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat. Now, again, I've said that the sun here can get really bright, and you will be outside a lot when out on mission trip. So carry your sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat that just wear outside. This is going to be useful. Now, the other thing you need to carry with you is a water bottle, empty. Don't put any water in it. You won't be allowed to carry that in your luggage when it has water. So just have it empty and carry it with you when coming on your mission trip. Now, the reason for this is that you do not want to buy water. Now, it's not that water is expensive here, but you don't want to buy water constantly. And when you're going out, you probably want to keep hydrated. As I've said, it's going to be very hot. It's hot all year round, generally, and you'll want to keep hydrated. The next thing you need to carry with you are travel-sized wet wipes. So a big pack of wet wipes. Now, this you'll have with you wherever you're going to be living. They're going to be useful for a lot of things. If tissue runs out, you can use that. But you can also, it's useful for a lot of uses. Sometimes you may not have water available. It shouldn't ordinarily be the case, but there's some mission trips where water will be a challenge. And so the wet wipes will help in generally keeping clean, keeping your hands sanitized. If you're going to be eating and stuff. But something else you need to carry with you are just small portable wet wipes that you can put in your bag. So when you're going out, you will have something, a way of sanitizing your hands. Now, hand sanitizer as well will be very useful for this. So carry that as well, just in case you don't find water and things like that. You'll be able to keep sanitized. Now, the reason why this is important, very important for you to follow, is because you can easily get sick in Kenya. Sometimes sanitation, sometimes in places, may not be very good. And especially because you are not immune to some of the diseases that are in this part of the world, you need to make sure that the places you're eating from, your hands and so on, are clean. Now, my friends, the missionaries, Dave and Katie and the kids, got sick within the first year. They got really sick quite a number of times because, it's easy to fall sick if you're not careful. So you need to make sure that you carry some of these things just to keep yourself safe from getting sick when you're here on mission in Kenya. So in addition to the things that I've mentioned above, when you're going to be getting out of your mission, like home, and going out for the mission activities, you'll need to carry things with you. And one thing that will help you just put all of your things together is a backpack. Make sure it's not something very bulky because you'll be carrying it every day. So something that can fit a number of items, not too bulky, not too small, so that you won't have to carry everything with your hands. You can carry two if you have extra room, so that just in case you need to leave something for safekeeping and also carry some things with you, it will be useful for that. Now, something else that you need to carry with you is a lightweight sleeping bag for the evenings. Now, when you're coming here, it's possible that the mission ground you're going to be in will not have sleeping bags or enough beds. Now, having a portable, lightweight sleeping bag will allow you to either use it as an extra blanket if it gets cold at night. Sometimes it gets cold here at night, but at the same time, you can use it just to crash on the floor, and you'll be fine crashing there as well if you have your sleeping bag. So let's talk about dressing, clothing when coming for your mission trip in Kenya. Now, this is something that you need to be very cautious about. When you're coming for missions, you'll need to be very conservative. Dress very modestly, both for men and women, because you do not want to offend the people you'll be preaching to and ministering to. And so you'll need to really think consciously about what you'll be wearing. Now, keep in mind that what may be acceptable in the US or the place you're coming from may not be acceptable in the mission ground you're going to be in. Even for me that lives in an urban setting, I'll also really need to think about what I'll be wearing when going to a rural place or a place that is not a bit more remote than where I live. And so even I who lives in Kenya needs to put that into consideration when going out on missions. So considering that I know the culture here and I need to think about it, you need to think about it way more. So in this, I'm just going to give you a breakdown on what is acceptable for men and women and the general suggestions of what you should carry with you and what you should wear when coming on your mission trip. So first, let's talk about women. Now that's it's one of the places that is slightly sensitive. I guess men have a bit more leeway here. Sorry, ladies. But ladies, you really need to think about what you're going to wear. Now, it needs to be below your knees. Whatever you're going to wear, whether it's shorts or skirts or dresses, it needs to be below your knees. The longer, the better. Now, the reason for this is that, especially in some of the more remote places, they'll be offended if you wear something that is shorter. And so please be careful about the length of your skirts or shorts. I would advise that you do not have shorts at all. If you're going to have a short, let it be very baggy and going below the knees. If you're going to wear a top, let it not be very revealing. Round necks, V-neck that does not go too deep, that's good. And then let it not be sleeveless or any like straps, that kind. Please don't wear that. Now, not that it's not good, not that you don't look good in it, but that you are definitely going to offend someone if you come with a strap, a top that just has straps and leaves your top exposed. Even if it doesn't expose anything else, just the very top, it's still going to probably be offensive. So please don't carry it. I know you may probably look good in it, but please don't carry it if you don't want to offend the people you're going to be ministering to. Now, something else about like what you're going to be wearing. Now, this is more functional than cultural. Most mission fields are not set in very even ground. So please don't wear heels. If you're wearing heels, let them be stable. I would advise that you have flats. And flats that are durable, because some of the places that are rocky, you may probably stumble over like stones, and you don't want to rip apart your shoes, your only pair of shoes. Probably something else as an advice, carry like 2 pairs or 3 pairs of shoes, and let them be durable and heavy duty to prevent them from getting torn apart when stumbling over rocks. As you're figuring out what to wear, you need to remember that Kenya is really hot, and so if you're going to be covering up a lot, it needs to be very light, like light clothing. For ladies, you might find that whatever you're wearing probably is a bit bulky and you'd want to be light. If you're going to wear anything sleeveless, make sure that it's not revealing anything. It's something that is not very revealing. Again, you need to use wisdom with this, depending on the type of place you're going to be going to, so that you do not offend the people who are there. That's the key thing. But remember that some of these places are really hot. Generally, actually, most of Kenya is really hot. And so on a hot day, you're going to really feel uncomfortable if you're wearing very thick clothing or covering up too much. So when choosing what to wear, do not choose very like heavy material. Use light materials that are not very heavy, that will be able to breathe and allow you to still be comfortable even when ministering. Now, dressing for men. Now, just a few things. The same rules that I've given for ladies apply. Be careful not to wear something that is going to be very like offensive. So shorts, if you're going to wear shorts, now first don't wear shorts to church. This is going to offend someone in church if you wear that. So don't wear shorts to church. If you're going to wear shorts, let them not be very short. So if they're going to, probably knee length shorts are appropriate. And this is for if you're going to like out and about, then shorts would be appropriate, but not very high. Dress slightly more formally when you're going to church than when out working. Now this will apply for ladies as well. People like dressing up when going to church in Kenya, and so you need to probably for men buttoned up shirt and like khaki trousers. would be appropriate. If you're out and about, khaki trousers are a good way to go either way for men, and something like a polo shirt like what I'm wearing today, this is good. This will be comfortable wear for you as well, so if you can carry this as well. Now this goes to all of you guys. Sorry I've not spent a lot of time for men. There's not a lot of rules there. As long as you're sensible and not wear anything revealing for men, you're good to go. Now something to apply for all of us, both men and ladies, is that the temperatures change. So it's going to be very hot during the day and sometimes very chilly in the evenings, and in some places very windy. And so carry with you an extra jacket or an extra sweater or a scarf that will help you in the chilly evenings. This is going to be really useful. So wear your clothes in layers, especially if you're going to be out in the evenings and nights. Have something on that is going to protect you from the cold, to just make sure you feel comfortable in the evenings. So here are some optional things that you may want to carry with you when coming for your mission trip in Kenya. And they're not necessarily very essential, but good things to think about if you're able to carry them with you. So first is coming with a camera. Now a camera will help you document all the things that you're going to be doing here in Kenya, and it's really useful for your journey. Now you can use a phone instead if it has a good camera, then that will double up, because a phone is one of the other extra things that you may want to carry with you. Now when coming with these things, now you need to be careful when you're going to carry them around. If you're going to go to any market or bazaar, now be careful that they are not taken from your bag and stuff like that. So if you're going to carry them with you, have them in your hand if you're going to a market to buy things or stuff like that. If you're out in public in a crowded place, make sure that you have them in your line of sight. Pickpocketers, they are not exactly not there. I used the double negative there, sorry. Pickpocketers exist in Kenya, and if you're not careful, as a foreigner, you will be easily made a mark, and they are going to try to take something from you. So when you're vigilant, they're going to know that you're like keeping an eye out. So be aware of this. If you're going to carry any of these electronics valuables, make sure that you have them with you in hand and always knowing where they are around you. Now, the other thing you may probably want to carry with you is your laptop. Now, again, part of the things that may cause a bit of trouble, worry for you, because you need to figure out where to place them or where to store them when you're not like using them. You need to know where you're going to, whether they have safekeeping for things like those. And so if they don't, and if they advise you not to carry them, don't. But a laptop would be nice to carry for general use if there's going to be Wi-Fi where you're going to be at. Now, if you bring your phone with you and it allows for like other SIM cards, you can actually buy a Kenyan SIM card and connect it so that you can actually make calls and use the internet here. But again, not very essential. If you're going to stay for a short time, not very essential though. One of the other things that may be very useful, well, especially on your trip here and going back, and when you're here, are earplugs. Now, there are some places that have very loud dogs that may be barking all night, or in your flight you want to just zone out. And so carrying some earplugs with you is going to be useful in your journey. Now, earphones may be a thing that you want to carry with you. Headphones, probably not, but earphones may be useful as well in case you're like in the vehicle and want to zone out. But again, if you want to connect with people, that may not be the best option for you. So there you go. I want to finish this video with a few tips that will help you like settle in your first few days. First is carry everything you will need for the first 48 hours of your mission. This is because in case you have any delays with your baggage, you'd want to have everything you need together with you. So don't carry, make sure that you don't carry everything in your check-in luggage, that whatever you're carrying with you, your carry-on will be able to, you'll be able to use it for the entirety of, well, at least 48 hours. Then the other thing you probably want to think about is carrying your musical instrument. Carrying a musical instrument, it may be, you may need to figure out whether the airline you're going to come with will allow you to like carry a guitar or something like that. And so think about and inquire about whether that's possible in carrying your instruments and stuff like that. Now, the other thing you need to be really careful about, one of the extra tips, is that if you have extra luggage capacity, then you can carry extra things that you're going to leave behind, like extra clothes and stuff like that you're going to leave and give away. If you're going to, like when packing, you can carry like old clothes, not really old and worn out, nobody wants that, but carry like clothes that you are willing to give away, so that when you come, you can give them away and go back with a lighter luggage when going home, and this will be an advantage to the person you're leaving behind. Now, the other thing you need to be careful about, now this is important, and that's the reason I'm like waving around. This is important for you to follow. Plastic bags are banned in Kenya. They are illegal. And so if you're going to come to Kenya, in customs, they're going to force you to remove those things and surrender the plastic bags. So don't carry plastic bags with you, or carry anything within plastic bags. If you need to store like things within things, then use a bag, like cloth bags or something else that is not plastic. Anything else that is not plastic. You do not want to have all your things in a mess because you had to take out all the plastic bags you had. So be very careful of that, because it will make your journey really inconvenient if you had carried a bag like those. So things like Ziploc bags. The Ziploc bags, you may probably be asked to take things out as well. So be careful of that when you're coming to Kenya. Now, the final thing is laundry. How much clothing should you carry? Now, when you're coming to Kenya, remember that laundry on average is done on a weekly basis. It will depend on the mission ground. Some places will like have laundry services available. Sometimes you do have to do laundry yourself. And if you're doing laundry yourself, you'll either have to do it in the morning or in the evenings, or at the end of the week. My advice would be carry enough clothes to last you an entire week, probably a week and a half, because Kenya, as I've said, is hot, and we do not use dryers here. We sun dry all our clothes. And so if it's going to be a cold month when you come, it's possible that your clothes are not going to dry out as quickly. So carry enough clothes so that when the clothes get laundered, or when you launder them yourself, that you'll still have a few days worth of laundry before you need to wear some extra clothes. Something important to consider is that generally Kenyans do not wash underwear. If you're going to have not that Kenyans don't wash underwear themselves. Sorry, you got me wrong. If someone is doing laundry for you, let's say you've hired someone to do laundry, they're generally not going to wash underwear. And so if you're going to come to Kenya, make sure that you carry enough and clean them yourself. It's going to be a bit offensive if you ask someone to clean your underwear as well, and they're most likely going to refuse to do that. So have that in mind, carry enough, and figure out how you're going to get them clean so that you do not get yourself in that kind of spot. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this. I am sure I may not have covered everything. I'm sorry. If you have any more questions, please post them in the links below, in the comment section below, sorry. And there's a full article about what I've talked about, going into a bit more detail, some things I may have missed from this video. So go check it out. The link is in the description below, or you can go to East Africa Travel Tips /missions, and you will see that this particular blog post that details exactly the things I've talked about and some few bonus things. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. I want to create more content, so ask questions. I'll create a video about it, and I'd want to help you to make your mission trip to Kenya and Africa really easy, and to remove the hassle out of it. So post any questions, any suggestions for any content you'd like me to talk about, and I'll be more than happy to do it. Thank you so much for watching this. Click like if you like it, subscribe if you aren't already, and see you in the next video. Totally copied Peter McKinnon there. Bye.